Welcome back to the Super Bowl Packers, my people, the ultimate podcast for the die-hard Green Bay Packer fans. I'm your host once again, EK Tha Gawd, here to bring you all the action, drama, and insight straight from the frozen tundra.
You know, and I'm your boy AG here, break down all the X's and O's, the highlights, the hot takes from our beloved Packers. So this is where cheeseheads don't bleed red. We bleed green and gold, baby.
For real. So every week, we're going to be diving into Packer news. When the game starts, we'll be doing game analysis and everything you need to know about our beloved Super Bowl Packers and our journey. And here, we're not just here to talk. We want you guys to join us. So, again, if y'all are in the stream, if y'all see this afterwards, always post a question. Always let us know what you're thinking, what your thoughts are, and we will definitely go back, put a pin in it, touch on it, bring it up, have a segment about it the next episode. If you join us live, we probably talk about it this episode. So fuck with us.
Yep, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, hit that bell so you never miss an episode. So we always into it. Packers Nation, let's just keep the game rolling. It's time to bring that Lombardi trophy back to where it belongs. It's Title Town, baby.
Yes, sir. And again, don't forget to drop your thoughts and comments. We're going to be looking for any kind of bold predictions going on in the offseason. Anybody who you think, like I'll say, anybody you think we should pick up. We're going to be touching on a little bit on that today about some people we should have picked up, some people we shouldn't have, whatever. Just let us know, like I said. Other than that, let's go Packers fans. Y'all just buckle up, enjoy the ride. If y'all smokers, go ahead and load up that bowl. We're going to get it popping here. And we'll go ahead and dive into it, man. You want to get started first, or you want me to go ahead and kick it off?
Go ahead and kick it off. What kind of questions you got for us, this time? I figured we switch it up. We were asking some like position-based things, and you were like, you know what? Let's just speak as fans. Let's just go ahead and ask some questions. What's your thoughts? On certain things. So kick us off. Fire question at me.
Got you. Okay, so my first question, I'll kind of go back to why I'm asking this question. Basically, we've been in the offseason now for a couple months, or for like a month and a half, maybe, not even a couple months, maybe about a month and a half, maybe about a month, whatever. And there's been a lot of Packer fans that are, haven't been happy with the way things have been going, haven't been happy with how the front office is handling things, maybe not feeling like we've been as aggressive as we should over the last couple years, maybe not feeling like we took the big swings that we need to, like, say, maybe the Eagles or the Rams have done in recent years that's acquired them a championship. So my question to you as a Packers fan is, would you be more comfortable, would you rather go and have 4 to 8 win seasons and then but you're guaranteed a Super Bowl? I mean, this is, we'll say over a decade, we'll say over 15 years to a decade. So you're going to have a bunch of 4 to 8 win seasons, or you're in the conversation every single year, 10, 11, 13 wins, but you're not guaranteed a Super Bowl. It's just you're in the dance, you have to get what you're going to get. But the other scenario where you're like below average 90% of the time, you're guaranteed at least one Super Bowl during that time. Which one would you rather?
So it's basically like saying, do I want to be us, the Packers, or like the fucking New York Giants, right?
Pretty much.
It's and if you pose it that way, it seems pretty easy then. I want to be the Packers. Like I'd rather fight for a chance and know that we are consistently good, or that we make the right moves, versus that we take a bunch of swings that don't work or miss out on the people that we know are supposed to be great. Saquon Barkley. I'd rather we are the way that we are, right? I wish we would do a little more but doing a little bit more, right? You know, when you just hitting a whole bunch of singles and doubles and you start swinging for the fence, you know, like you got a tendency to strike out maybe a little bit more. I don't know, baseball like that. Don't ask me, but it just seems like I'd rather be good, get 10, 11, 12 wins and be like, all right, we in the dance.
Right.
Let's see what it is. I just wish we used our fucking home field advantage. You know what I mean? Like that we supposed to have. It doesn't seem like that ever works in the actual home team favor. But I still rather us be decent or not even decent. You know what I mean? Good, better than the 7th seed we have been. So what was your answer to that?
Yeah, I'd have to go with with what we're doing. Again, like I said, there's a lot of ungrateful fans out here. A lot of people who are like too quick to chomp at the bit, but they haven't had to live that life, bro. And I can guarantee you, from the niggas who I talk shit to, my friends' team, you don't want to live that life, bro, where you're living 4 to 8 win seasons. I understand shit gets frustrating. I understand there's times where you thought that we should have won it all. Understand that winning the Super Bowl is not an easy task. There's a lot of things that need to go right, luck-wise, fucking skill-wise, motherfucking injury-wise, just things, just basic shit, you know what I'm saying, that have to go right. And to be in the dance every year and have that hope, I'd rather have hope every year and be like, there's a chance we could win it all. Niggas might fuck around and let us into the dance. Niggas might fuck around and let a middle-aged nigga in there, and he might fuck the princess. That's all I'm trying to do, you know what I'm saying? That's all a nigga like me is trying to do. And those years where you're like, bro, why am I sitting here for 3 months, 4 or 5 months watching this bullshit-ass team be 4-8? I was frustrated last year, and we finished in the fucking went to the playoffs, and I was mad last year. That's the definition of being fucking spoiled.
Right,
You're fucking spoiled.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's just because we expect 10 wins. You know what I mean? Like we have a different baseline of what we're trying to do. You know, it's like just imagine being the Carolina Panthers, you know, post Cam Newton, or even in the midst of some Cam Newton years. You know, like it's just like you rode this incredible high, but you ain't got back to that peak. You know, I'd rather us stay consistently kind of just like riding that mountain range, and eventually we get up there. But I think we just have them too few and far between. You know what I mean? Like we've won 2 championships since the 60s, you know, since the first ones. I just think we just need to do a little better, but we're way better off than so many franchises. You know, you could be the Vikings, you know, who just like talk a big game, but just have nothing. You know what I mean?
Who half the time can't even get into the dance. The bouncer's like, get the fuck out of here, lame nigga. And when they do get in the dance, they can't even get close to the bitch's table to fuck the princess. They just like looking with their back on the wall, like maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Right now you have Justin Jefferson and you had Randy Moss and Chris Carter, and you ain't got to a Super Bowl. Like,
right, you've had some of the greatest receivers of all time.
That's what I'm saying. Your quarterback play, though, I get it. You know what I mean? Your quarterback play, woof. But y'all, speaking of quarterback play, right, that actually leads me into my question, right? Because we ended up here in fucking Minnesota. So you got these free agent quarterbacks like Darnold, Danny Dimes, who were both on Minnesota, Aaron Rodgers, who shows interest, and now Justin Fields is testing, you know, free agency. Can you see any of them landing in Minnesota, right? And with them re-signing Jones, do you think they repeat any of the success that they've had last year?
We're just talking about the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No. I was gonna say now they had no success in the postseason. So when I say success, I just mean like regular season may have been like, oh, watch out for the Vikings. It's unfair that we're just talking about the Vikings right now. It just led into one of my questions I would have saved for the back end, and just too good of a segue to pass up. So yeah, we're just talking about the Vikings as it made. Are they going to repeat any of their success, and maybe how that pertains to us, right? Because they're one of the teams that we couldn't beat, you know, even when they had Sam Darnold. So it's one of those things like it was like those names ain't gonna do shit, but we ain't beat them. You know, like, at least last year. So we could laugh the names off all we want. I'm just saying, like, what do you think that poses based on what they're trying to do? Or are they going to roll out JJ McCarthy, and how's that going to look? Are we going to move up in our standing, based on, obviously there's more things to talk about, things to do, but,
Right.
where do you think that puts us, in the sense of them as well in that move?
Got you. Real quick, let me get you to scoot one scoot towards your bed in the direction. No, not like backwards to your bed. Yeah, that way. Yep. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Okay. So this is the thing about the Vikings, and I've said this on public record at least once. Their MO, I don't think they're gonna do shit with Sam Darnold, because what their MO is they are always not always, they have a good year, sometimes randomly, whatever. Then whatever happens, they're expected to do trash. Then all of a sudden they come out of the blue with some fucking random middle tier white quarterback who can really be interchanged with anybody in the league. They come with this guy and they come and blow the doors off the thing, right? They do great. Do some shit that nobody ever thought. They did this with Case Keenum. They kind of did it with Kirk Cousins. I think there was somebody before Case Keenum they did it with. And then now they did it again with Sam Darnold. The problem is they don't ever stick with the hot hand. They're like, oh yeah, this guy's trash, and we kind of made it work. But then they're like, oh, we're actually better than him. We don't need him. And then they get rid of him, and then they go to a Kirk Cousins or go to whoever the fuck else, so they think that they're better than in the system, and then it doesn't work out for them, and then they're trash again for 2 years while they try to figure some things out. So with that being said, I don't think they're going to pick up any quarterback in free agency. I think that they are more than likely going to pay Sam Darnold, not long-term money, but don't go anywhere money, because nobody else is going to pay this nigga. I don't think anybody else is going to be foolish enough to sign this nigga, so he's going to have to settle for whatever they give. And I think they're going to let him play, but their intention is going to be to roll out JJ if this nigga fucks up at all, starts looking like Sam Darnold from postseason Sam Darnold, the last 3 games of the season Sam Darnold. If any of that shit happens, JJ's coming off the bench. But I don't think they're going to – they have a good team, and I don't think they're trying to, make that big of a splash in a roster to, get Aaron – what is Aaron Rodgers going to do for your team right now? He's not really going to help it. You know what I'm saying? What is really any quarterback that's on the market right now going to do for your team that Sam Darnold isn't? There's nobody who's 2 tiers above Sam Darnold, or even a tier above Sam. That's worth paying the money for right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's why? It's why? Now, do I hope they waste their money and do some dumb shit? Yes. Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just like you said with their MO. It's one of those things. Okay, they had these glimmers of feigned success, which didn't go anywhere in the playoffs. But with Kirk Cousins, Case Keenum, and Sam Darnold most recently. So even with us saying that, again, we didn't beat them last year. It's one of those things hey, are we going to take our step, which is an entirely different question and too easy of a question to really talk about right now. Are the Packers going to take another step this year? Nigga, this ain't First Take and Screaming A. Smith. So it was just one of those things. It was how do you think that fares in the NFC North, because what we're trying to fight for is seeding out of that 7th seed. Without that extra seed, we wouldn't have made the playoffs the last 2 years. So it would have felt less success. We would have had a chance to beat the Cowboys or get beat by the Eagles. We just would have been at home. It would have felt less and made us feel worse with Jordan Love. So I just was acting in the perspective. It was are we going to take our jump? Are they going to be another team or the same team that is holding us back within the NFC, even though we think of them it's the Vikings, each year is different, and you can't win the same way. I just didn't know what we might be possibly doing. So.
Right. I feel that. Okay. Well, shit. Speaking of fucking up quarterback things, I was talking about one of my questions to you today was going to be, because I had no faith that we were going to get these things done. There's been rumblings since before our episode, tons of rumblings after our episode about the wide receiver room and what veteran leadership we were going to add to it. And everybody was like, oh, Devontae. And there was words because he put that post up with the green and yellow shoes. And then there was this whole thing about DK Metcalf and all these fits and all this other silly ass shit. And and you know fucking what, bro? Every year we are the number one destination for every wide receiver that's ever caught a ball who's ever been a B plus wide receiver. And every fucking year I tell myself I'm not gonna get caught up in this goddamn carousel of fucking retardation, and every single time I do. Every single time I'm like, no, I'm not gonna listen to it because it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna buy into it. And then guess what? I'm like, people make enough points, and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like good. Oh yeah, we might be able to pull that off. And then guess what? I did it again. I thought I was like, yeah, we're definitely gonna get DK or Devontae, and we didn't get either one of them. So do you feel like we fucked that up, or do you feel like we made the right choice on not picking up either one of them? And what do you think? And if that's what your choice is, what do you think we're gonna do since we didn't do that?
So I got a couple things on that one. So number one, with Devontae got 46 M's, 2-year contract, right? You know, but yeah, like he was looking for some money. He gets to give a fuck because he's not on my team, right? But it wasn't going to be something we were going to pay, right? Just like the Packers, like on an average salary, 30 M's, you know, and what they're going to do for just like that one receiver. We weren't going to do it so realistically. But when I was looking at the compensation, you know, outside of that, it was like, okay, the Steelers sent a second rounder for 2025. I go to the draft chart. They got the 52nd pick. We got the 54th pick. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, it was like, nigga, is this one of those situations where we're barely missing out again? You know, but at the same time, like, that would have been a bad allocation for our cap for what he was looking for. So that's where I thought it was unrealistic we were going to get him as well.
Do you feel like we cheaped out, or you just feel like we just barely missed out, or you feel like we're trying to be cheap and shit?
So
you know, we like to be fucking frugal. We like to be frugal. Let's just keep it 100. Keep it a buck.
That's actually, you know what I mean? Like one of the questions, this question is actually one of those that I wrote down for you as well. And those are the two things. I was like, do you think it was more likely we hung up the phone when the agent presented that potential contract, or we just lost out? I think we cheaped out. You know, like I don't think we lost out based on the compensation because they lowered it down to a second round pick, right? They were like, oh, we want a first for him. But they were like, nah, we're going to get a second. Okay, cool. And based on where they are in the draft, it's still kind of like that middle second, you know, top middle second of the draft. So I think we just cheaped out on what we were trying to do. You know, Green Bay would rather be a year early than a year late on like contracts and being able to move the money around and like to have more flexibility. And I don't think that contract would prove flexible enough for us. So we cheaped out. But with us cheaping out, right, that actually leads me, you know, we're doing good segues here, right? You set me up, right, for this next question. Because, like, yeah, I just don't think we would pay for the allocation of resources. But with T. Higgins also getting franchise tagged, right, do you think it's more likely that three options, right? Do you think it's more likely that we draft a receiver with the 23rd pick, so a first-round receiver, so that'd be the first one since Javon Walker in 2002?
Okay.
Right. Do you think it's more likely that we go get a veteran like Cooper Kupp? Because with Devontae going to LA, Kupp's probably on his way out. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be Devontae and Nakua. So, like, are we going to go get Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, which I think he's like Tampa Bay for life, or go get somebody like middle tier like Darius Slayton? Are we going to go like, hey, cap allocation again? Like, hey, we can get some decent value out of Slayton. He was playing in New York. We can make him better kind of thing, yada, yada. Or C, do you think we still just continue on our path of going like second round or later and being like, hey, man, we can build these people up. I see the potential, relative athletic score. You know what I mean? Like, but did you see this at the combine? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like first round receiver, veteran receiver, keep doing what we're doing.
So, you know, Goody has typically in Goody's past, he typically like says the shit he's gonna do, and he typically means it. And you know what I mean? Like, except for the Aaron Jones thing, most of the things that he's like said or spoken on, he's typically done. So I still believe we're gonna bring in a veteran wide receiver. Also, Goody has also not shown a bias, or he hasn't shown like being against bringing in these veteran kind of receiver guys. He brought in Jamie Graham. He's brought in Sammy Watkins. He's brought in Devin Funchess. He's brought in, I think that's it for as far as the receiver room goes. There might be somebody I'm missing, but I mean, I think he brought back Randall Cobb. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one who brought back Randall Cobb. And so I think that he does value that as like something that needs to go on in this locker room. And I don't feel like the talent in this draft is like receiver heavy. At like the high end, it's an okay draft for receivers, but it's not like we're not going to overstretch, and it's not like a lot of first round talent for receivers. So I don't think he's gonna go out of his way to do that.
Darius Slayton, come on down. That's what that sounds like. You know what I mean? Like everything you just mentioned, we brought in Devin Funchess, Sammy Watkins, and Jimmy Graham, old ass, right? Who wasn't doing shit. So that sounds like we're getting a middle tier ass. You know what I mean? Like we're not getting a proven like we're getting either like somebody past the hill, you know what I mean, or like somebody. Again, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I'm not feeling any of it. Like it's
right.
just it all sounds bad. All three of those options, you should have went with D, trash all them options and try to go get somebody again. Like I don't love it, you know, and that's why I posed that question. It's just like with us not going to be able to get the big names, which were T, Devontae, and DK, right? With us not being able to get those three, it's not worthwhile, right? To really go get anybody else, like at least pay them big money, you know.
Right? No, we're not paying anything that anybody else may have wanted besides those people. And even still, then, like I said, we like to be on some cheapo shit, so we wasn't even gonna pay them niggas what they wanted, but they would have stability and some shit to look forward to. You know what I'm saying? Now niggas is going places just for the money. The only people that really have a chance to do anything that I'm like, okay, you might do some shit is the Rams. But the Steelers, it's like, who the fuck's throwing you the ball? Are they keeping Russ? Are they keeping Justin Fields? Like, what are they doing in their quarterback room? Are they going to pick up A-Rod? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, they're probably going to pick up Aaron Rodgers. But, dog, like, this is another thing that kind of makes me mad. Like, if you telling me, like, George Pickens is your number one, I got real concerns. You telling me DK is your number one with George Pickens on the other side? Hey, dog, you know what I mean? Like, you might be able to fill that slot in pretty nicely, and then you got Freiermuth over there. You got to do better than Najee Harris on the back end, but you might be able to do something a little bit better with the Steelers. You know what I mean? Steelers like to win the games fucking 15-12, and that shit is fucking annoying.
Right, and I'm saying DK can carry that. He can get a tutty or two for you.
Right, and so can George, right? But not if he's going to be double teamed and you ain't got nobody else, like, on the side of him, right? If Freiermuth is your number two in that. So, like, that can be like a duo that, hey, man, that's, again, it depends on who's throwing you the ball, but that's still a duo, right? You got two weapons that can be legitimate if Pickens can stop trying to body slam niggas through the turf. Like,
hey, bro, Pickens is pay-per-view must-see TV. That guy, that boy be flying all over the place.
That nigga is a crash out, like crash dummy for real. He be killing me. But speaking of body slamming niggas through the earth, transition. So if we're gonna miss out on these receivers, I think that opens up the pathway for us to go defense, right? Or very heavy in the defense. So since we last talked, Myles Garrett basically bitched out on the holdout and was like, I'm here for rings. I wasn't trying to, go from Cleveland to Canton, or whatever the fuck it was. And he's like, getting me. Let me read what the contract was. This man got $123.5 million guaranteed on his extension. He's on contract through 2030. Average salary $40 million to stay in Cleveland. Dog, you ain't give a fuck. You know what I mean? If you willing to sit through Cleveland's bullshit, that's an aside. That's not my question. That's just like head on top of that. You should have just held out. Because I'm sure the Eagles or somebody would have traded for you. Max Crosby also got an extension after flirting with Josh Jacobs online. Like, ooh, like Green Bay sounds nice, right? Come over here. No, I'm gonna give my money to Tom Brady over there trying to pay me bread. Whatever.
Right.
Pete Carroll just, became the coach. Like, it's a different culture. You know what I mean? You're actually playing for somebody who knows what the fuck they doing. So, maybe the Raiders got optimism. So I understand Crosby saying. But even since then, Joshua with the Eagles is testing free agency. Trey Hendrickson with Cincinnati is requesting a trade now. They've released Von Miller. Not saying this again. They released Von Miller. They released Jonathan Allen. Yeah, I know they owe. You know what I mean? But all I'm saying is, and then you still got ones like Khalil Mack and others kind of like defensive interior linemen. Do you think that we have a better chance of getting maybe a more big name pass rusher instead of the receivers, since the market on the receivers isn't that robust any longer, or not that it was, right?
Right. So, quick side question: do you think that Tyler Lockett would be a kind of guy that we would put on our roster? And the thing is, we probably could get him incredibly discounted, but how much juice does this nigga really got?
I just Tyler Lockett is the kind of player at this point, right, where you still need, like, I don't hear his name called a lot when I'm watching the Seahawks. And it's not like I'm watching the Seahawks a whole lot. I'd have to go look up his stats because he wasn't even somebody I thought about.
Well,
right?
He was the third receiver. You know, they got Enigma and they had DK, so he was definitely 3 or lower.
We got a team full of 3s. Like, we are good. You know, like, that's no. Look, for the frame, for the game, for whatever we would be paying him, you know, outside of a vet minimum, he'd basically come in like a Randall Cobb type role. And we got those, man. We got Dobbs, we got Wicks, we got Reed. And I'm not saying Reed's a 3. I'm just saying, like, we have 2 3s, like 2s or 3s. We need a number 1. We either need somebody to step up into 1 and everybody else can stay where they're slotted, or else. Like, I just don't think we need another, like, middle roster receiver kind of thing. He may be one of the better players if he came to our roster, but it's still not enough, right? It's like telling me in a similar vein, it was like, hey, man, you added Alan Lazard. Nigga, I don't.
Right, it doesn't move the needle.
Right. And I'm Tyler Lockett, way better, right? You know what I mean? In his prime, right? But it's been 10 years at this point. You know what I mean? Like, we're good. You know, they won that Super Bowl how long ago? Legion of Boom? You know, like, it's been a minute that Tyler Lockett was out here, like, burning and dusting. So, no. I don't consider it a name. Again, I think that if you have a better allocation of resources if you kind of do a combination of a Darius Slayton type of receiver who's younger and still a big deep threat, right? Definitely big play, explosive, can replace Watson, not in the body type, but definitely in the speed. So I think getting him and maybe allocating your resources on defense, I think the defensive line, right? You need to maybe not do a shootout necessarily. Like, we've been decent about getting up to 28 points, slow starts, but we can get up to 28 consistently.
Right.
Like, we just need to keep holding people down to maybe like that 21-22 range and give our, offense a more of a threshold or less of a margin for error, and be like, we have to score on every single drive to give that cushion up. So I think we should invest in defense, particularly defensive line, and like go get, if Cherry Hendrickson is trying to get something, give up something for him potentially. Like,
I guess I sideswayed your question really with the throwback of Tyler Lockett.
I was like, nigga, you know what I mean? Tyler Lockett, like, no, I've given zero thought. And if you give me my immediate reaction, that's my face is like, no.
I don't think so.
It was like, no.
Yeah,
like,
so the reason why I even threw that in there is just because, like I said, he is available. And he would be the veteran voice, but like you said, he's not explosive enough to like do anything or make that a fruitful like motion with. So it doesn't really lead. It doesn't really follow. So, and I was saying we could give him more of a team friendly deal, because let's just be honest, like you said, he was a 3 on his team. Nobody's picking this nigga up just for the shits and giggles of it, So I felt like we could still have accomplished the goal of bringing in veteran leadership and ABC, But you're right. He doesn't move the needle enough. And I was saying that to say that we would save the money so that we could take the big swing at the pass rusher, the edge rusher, and get somebody. Now, I don't know if you mentioned on Max Crosby, but he signed in. He signed in too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson, though, that is, like you were saying earlier, that's an appealing. That's an appealing option, but I heard he was getting, he's in contract talks with his team, and he's trying to ask for hella money, like he's trying to act crazy and shit. So, again,
I mean,
from the
the
frugal
Bengals are also
department
cheap.
of the NFL, I don't know if we're throwing that.
Yeah, I mean, also the Bengals are notoriously cheap, so they trying to pay everybody. They just franchise T and they got to pay Jamar, and they in shambles right now, trying to do the most, with the worst. But I think that I was going to ask you, trading for Hendrickson or going to get somebody like Mac, I was like, would probably be decent. But I would say Mac, honestly, is somebody that you can still get veteran leadership and production, and somebody that you still have to account for, But other than that, what would you say? Because I was looking it over as well. Have you looked at the cornerback market?
Besides, like, I know Darius Slay is available. I know, I'm a little bit familiar with it, but I'm not like, I know a couple of the higher guys. But who's up there? Who's up there?
So Darius Slay, Carlton Davis, Travarius Ward, DJ Reed, Byron Murphy, Asante Samuel Jr., and Rasul Douglas are all free agents.
Okay. And who would you be interested in bringing to the team of those names?
Well, that's my question to you. This is my question, sir. How you gonna flip my question back to me? I didn't ask you yet. No, this is on you, right? You tried. No,
I did.
No, sir. It was like, no, that's what I'm asking you. What is your interest level in a veteran cornerback, right, as well, to maybe pair with, our secondary, our younger secondary that we do have with like a McKinney, or, maybe that pushes, I'm having a blank on Nixon, pushes Nixon into that like nickel corner kind of aspect in the same way that the Bullard was.
That nigga Nixon said he's trying to start this year. He said he's trying to be CB1. Those are his goals in his life. I'm just letting you know. He's trying to be the number one bounty.
He's a good corner. You know what I mean? Like but we need a don't throw to his side.
Right. We need a lockdown.
If you have a don't throw to his side corner, opposite of Xaivier McKinney, who's ball hawking behind, like, dog. You know what I mean? And then you got Coop and Quay, who are, like hunters, of trying to like attack the line of scrimmage and basically hunt the ball as it comes across. So I think you have a potential defense that you could do. He's a good rotational corner, right? You could rotate him in. Again, if you're saying like Nixon's your number one, if you don't want to return kicks no more, my boy, that's fine. Like, you can have a bunch of people return kicks. Don't care. All I'm saying is that I would be interested, I don't know about a Rasul Douglas reunion, but honestly, in that Travarius Ward or like DJ Reed wouldn't be, bad choices to have in the secondary. Being able to pluck either one of them. I don't know what their market would be or what they're trying to do, but I say either one of them, or you can do. Go ahead.
I was gonna say DJ Reed is where I'd be leading to more than probably anybody on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Run me the list one more time.
Big Play Slay, Carlton Davis, Travarius Ward, DJ Reed, Byron Murphy, Asante Samuel Jr., Rasul Douglas are the big names.
I mean, the homer in me would want to bring back Rasul, but I think we're all past that segment of our lives. Yeah. And, I mean, DJ Reed is really the only name that kind of, like, pops out. Everybody else is like, that's cool, but are they willing to accept this deal, this team-friendly deal? You know what I'm saying?
Green Bay does a very huge job of like front loading or back loading contracts, just depending, right? Or converting the bonuses or, void years or whatever it is. But yeah, it is going to be something else. Like, how are you going to be able to negotiate that? So it seems increasingly less likely that we are going to get a wide receiver in the market. But if you had to go with either an edge rusher or a corner, then what would you lean more towards one to pair?
To pay? Who I'm gonna pay between the edge rusher and the corner?
Yeah, I said to pair, like to pair with, say like you're pairing with our opposite. It doesn't matter to pay or to pair, same thing. Who do you want, or what position would you rather have?
I would rather have the edge rusher. And the reason being is because you know I was pissed off a lot last year because Ja wasn't playing and stuff like that, and I really wanted him to play because he's one of my favorite Packers. And unfortunately, he's probably I believe the writing is on the wall as far as that's concerned. But I was really upset with him not playing. But at the end of the day, the defense performed pretty admirably, like you said, with McKinney back there ball hawking. Our corners held it down. We don't have like legendary corners, but our system and shit allowed. With Javon Bullards taking another step and Evan Williams taking another step, I think that we'll be all right. We don't have to get somebody who's like a top of the line corner. You know what I'm saying? We really need bodies. That's what we really need is bodies, because if Ja goes and that leaves us one person down, and if anybody gets injured, we were already in a precarious situation this year with that situation. So I think we need more bodies than anything. I'd rather add to the edge rush, because to be realistic, if you only got 2-3 seconds, if you only have 1 to 2 seconds to throw the ball, it don't matter who the fuck is back there covering, you gonna get hit. And even if you're completing some passes, you're gonna get hit, and the pressures and the hurries is gonna add up. And I'd rather have an edge rusher pair with Rashawn Gary. I feel like that would be more devastating, to our defense. And we got safeties back there that's not gonna allow our corners to get burnt regardless of who's out there. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like it'll be better off if we spent that money on the edge rusher. It'll behoove us. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you saw the game, you saw the Super Bowl, and you've seen all the Super Bowls where defenses won. They didn't win because their corners were locking shit down. They won because their pass rush was fucking people up. I.e., Patrick Mahomes in this last one. That 2015 Super Bowl with Cam Newton, he couldn't do shit. The pass rush was Von Miller was up his ass all game. He couldn't do shit. So, you know what I'm saying? It is the Seahawks game against the Broncos. The defense was on that ass. Pass rush, everything. He couldn't get the ball off to do shit because they was on his ass. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that pass rush right now is the most important thing over a high paid corner. Not even a high paid corner, but who's available.
I don't know. I think having somebody you can game plan for, even with that, like the pass rush aspect, yes, right. You're not going to be able to do it, but I think that the allocation of resources, I think you can split for both. I think you can get like a combination of, say, like a Khalil Mack and like a Rasul Douglas, right? You can do something to where, and it's bodies, right? In that instance, but at the same time,
you just said you didn't want Rasul Douglas.
I don't, but I'm saying if that's the only move, I don't want the move. Is what I'm saying. I'm saying if that's a combination of things, that sweetens it, right? You know what I mean? Like it's a combo thing, right? I don't know like a good example right now, right? You ain't about to eat a straight jelly sandwich. I don't know too many people that is, but that PB&J, it worked because of the combination. You need that peanut butter with the jelly, and Rasul Douglas is just jelly.
Well, I'm not saying not to pick up a DB. I'm just saying if the one that we should overpay for or make sure that we pay an adequate market amount is the pass rusher. And then with the leftover money, snag up a corner, like, okay, whoever, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we don't need a corner. That's not what I'm saying.
I would say the corner would benefit like the secondary, because also even within it, that having a secondary that basically blankets either one side of the field or everything overall would definitely be beneficial.
Okay, tell me that's fine, but tell me how that worked out for us this year. There was a lot of games where our pass.
What'd you say?
I said that's fine, but tell me how that worked out for us this year. Our pass rush went in a like they just went like missing at times, and corners can't cover forever. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you are. If I don't give a fuck if you're Darrell Revis in his prime, you can't cover forever. And there's times where the quarterback's not even moving, bro, just sitting in the pocket waiting for shit. And if we don't have the pass rush to stop that, it doesn't matter how good your coverage is because again, nobody can cover forever. You know what I'm saying? And that was the problem. Nobody was getting home. Either Rashawn Gary was on the bench, Rashawn Gary wasn't getting home. Kenny Clark was on some chill shit. I don't know what that boy was on this year, but he was chilling, trying to learn the defense. I guess I'll give him that. Give him that year. He got his little contract. He was on some chill shit. But there was games where I thought we were going to be fucking up the quarterback, and we were playing against an offensive line that was you know like that was exposed and had been exposed, and we didn't get the pressure that I thought that we could get. And that's why I'm trying to just improve that section because we went missing a lot more than we went missing in coverage.
What I would also say is even with that, if like the way that we play, you know, a lot of the 5 DB style, right? You know, within it. And so with that 5 defensive back style, how many times because of the way that things may have been slotted where we haven't in that point Isaiah McDuffie on the field because we re-signed him. Anyways, like how many times were we having the senses where we're getting ate up in the middle of the field based on like coverage mistakes because people were just getting cut across like in the middle, and then those are coverage things like within the first 2 seconds whether the pass rush can get there or not. I'm not saying again that obviously you win in the trenches, all that old football adage bullshit that I'm talking about, right? But I just felt that we had a lot of different coverage mistakes that ended up in the middle of the field, not just by like linebackers, but the way that we were playing in the defense or in the sense you still saw instances this year where we're playing past the first down sticks and not being able to do anything about it, shut down anybody's route, or you know what I mean? Like it's or have any kind of like anticipation or any fear of like throwing in one direction. So I think that it also helps, like, yeah, somebody can get all up in their face, you know, and be able to do that. But at the same time, like there is no fear of our corners per se that make you be like, all right, man, you got to worry about Keyshawn Nixon. You know what I mean? And things will get better, you know, like I'm not saying it specifically for Nixon, but like for Valentine, if they re-sign him, you know, or other cornerbacks that we do have. But I still think that needs some work, especially since Stokes is out the door and isn't what they're going to be as well. Like,
oh yeah, Stokes is going to be out the door too. That was another person who we're going to lose another body for.
Right.
So.
You know, losing Stokes and then trying to bring in another, you know, maybe like middling type of corner doesn't help because then we're in that same situation. Ja didn't play, Stokes wasn't good, and you bring in like a middling corner, just a kind of a rotating body. I don't think that really helps, you know, anything overall. So, like, while I agree with your point, you know, too, I'm not saying to overload all on the corner because that's not what we're going to do. But I just think that it just adds to the secondary if you can have, you know, Bullard and McKinney, you know, and then you have underneath, you have across like Nixon, Quay, and Coop, right? You know, in there, and then you have a big time, you know, or like a more traditional type of shutdown corner, you know, and then you have your other type of boundary corner. Maybe it is Nixon on the other side, and he slots somebody else down, right? But I just think that helps the overall kind of positioning of that back end defense where we was getting cooked for, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, somebody got a slant on you again. You know what I mean? Oh, they ran a 5-yard dig. You know what I mean? Like it was like in the
all
middle
that
of
underneath shit.
All of it, and it wasn't all just like from the slot receivers or anything, right? It was from the outside because we're playing this type of coverage that just allows for people to just eat underneath and stuff. So I think maybe a corner that was like, nah, you're not getting any of this easy shit, you know, deters that and can open things up as well.
Right.
But I agree with you that we do need, that pass rush. But the way that we play in our secondary, you'd be like, man, what is like? All right, it's it's third and 6. Oh, here goes an 8-yard slant. You know what I mean? Like it's like motherfucker again. You know what I mean? Like how? Because you getting cooked on the outside. Because of your leverage or your coverage. Or whatever it is. So that I guess that's more so my point, that it helps kind of maybe slot people better, and then you have like a more imbalance to the field, or the way that they're looking at it. It was like, okay, if I throw to this side, he's over here, but McKinney's over the top. Like you're playing a different, and then you got people coming at you, always, but like where you're gonna go in your positioning, because you have these players that are gonna break on the ball maybe a little bit different, and that can help too.
Right. I was wondering if that was something that was more due to defensive philosophy, because we were a solid run team. We were a solid run defense. We were a solid. Nobody was trying to throw that deep ball. After the first couple of weeks, niggas was like, all right, that nigga Xavier's out there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it down here. You know what I'm saying? So what's left? If you can't run the ball and you can't throw the deep ball, the only thing that's left is to make those short passes. And I guess through conversation, those short passes can be the pass rush. If you can get the ball off and make those just quick thing, bing bang, and if we don't have nobody to stop that, that's our one weakness, because that's where we were giving up the most. But our team as a whole in the middle is soft. Our intermediate game on offense is retarded, and our fucking intermediate game on defense is soft as shit too. Like there's a lack of attention to detail to the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And it's like reoccurring. So, maybe we gotta pick that up. I'm not sure. But I mean, either or, like I said, man, we need to do something. The receiver thing was a cool pipe dream, but adding those little pieces to the defense might make our defense kind of legendary, because we were pretty good last year, man. We were pretty good. We were pretty tough.
If we can get Musgrave back in, on the offense to go with Kraft, maybe we need to switch up just kind of like the offensive scheme if we're not going to add a receiver, but maybe just be like, hey, man, let's go smash mouth. Like, I'm sure Hav got some things up his sleeve, like bring in a mercenary type of rush and get you another type of corner that battles on the outside. If it's not a number one, another number two, but outside of that, I think that our defense is pretty good, outside of obviously the edge. Quay is a good run linebacker. He pisses me off in the passing game. Should just be zipping by. I'm like, huh? I think that slotting everybody down accordingly, if you have a better pass rusher to pair with them in the corner, I think that's probably what I'm advocating or leaning more towards. So maybe next week we can talk about, since the draft is around the corner, what you think that we can do there. We always gonna have those needs, but are we gonna address anything by then, or kind of go from there? So we'll see what happens. I am advocating for pushing in on the defense now that we aren't doing the whole reunion. Ooh, look at these big names, shiny objects. Like, all right, let's get real on the pass rush, right? And let's get real on the outside and start locking foes down. Like, it was like, it does a good job off the line of scrimmage. I haven't heard that from the corners in a while. So
Right, for real. Okay, you got any more questions?
I got another one, but it's more joking. I was like, we re-signed McManus, so we got to stabilize the kicking game a little bit. Still, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does special teams piss your ass off? Like,
because you want to know what? It's not just McManus, bro. McManus played good. He actually pasted over a lot of my woes that I was having in the beginning of the season, because I was getting real pissed off in the beginning of the season. I was mad that we didn't solve the problem before the season began, but then I was mad that the season had to persist. A couple of games. What did we sign him, like in the 4th or 5th game? When did we sign McManus?
Something it was like in the 5th, after like the 5th game, we cut Carlson's ass. We was like, all right, dog.
Right, please. So yeah, I was angry, but the thing is, it's not just him, bro. It's a lot of things on the special teams, and I feel like Rich is getting paid a lot. We're making Rich rich, you know what I mean? And he's not. He's
I
not. I
think he's
don't,
like the assistant head coach or some shit. Like,
bro. I get it, but our special teams, and it's been this way, right, for like forever. And like when has there been a time that you can remember where it's like our special teams, they finally came through for us? Thank you for not allowing. I'm not even asking them to return a punt, return a kick, do some shit. I'm asking them to not give up some fuck shit in a big game. That's all I'm asking.
I was gonna say outside of field goals, I can't.
Outside of Mason Crosby specifically field goals.
Uh, yeah, that's the only kicker that comes to mind anyway. I don't think,
No,
but yeah,
there's been a lot of failures, and the thing
got nothing.
is that it's been a lot of playoff failures, but it's been a lot of things like starting from the time Amari Rogers was a kick returner ever on our team. Anybody who had half a brain should have saw that he couldn't do the job. We let him fumble. Bro, I went back one day just on some random shit because I wanted to know. And I went back and counted. This man fumbled like at least one. He muffed at least one punt in like the first 4 or 5 games of Aaron Rodgers' last season, I believe that was.
Oh Lord.
And then they finally cut him halfway through the season. Like it was like game 6 or 7. And I was like, he should have been cut 2 years ago.
Trying to look and see if there were any other news while we were wrapping up the recording. And it said the Seahawks, since they traded Geno back over to Pete Carroll, it says the Seahawks are eyeing Rodgers as a potential option. Yuck. What are they doing? Are they, you know what? Tankathon is real because if they sign him, they basically released Lockett, traded DK, right, and traded away Geno, and then signed Rodgers.
Right, for what? To throw to a. Was the Nicola a rookie this year?
No.
Last year?
Njigba, I want to say that was last year.
Okay. Yeah, all right. We'll see how that goes. We will see how that goes. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to try to avoid the Vikings just to not follow the complete Brett Favre career path. But who knows? Maybe he might buy into the lore. He's one of those kind of guys.
Somebody said if Aaron Rodgers signs with the Vikings, they're pre-ordering their Jordan Love jersey for 2040. Fucking week.
That's a pre-order.
Right? He's like, I'm pre-ordering the Vikings Jordan Love 2040. Fucking week.
Hell nah. Shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had, in regards to it. I had to, like we did, or like we said, had to amend some questions in there because I was breaking down. I was like, all right, so DK, it was basically like, all right, so Geno got traded. Tyler got released. They lowered their compensation. How much does that put the Packers in the potential driver's seat? It was like, hey, he might be going to somewhere warm, he says, and if he goes to the Texans, I'd hate that. Specifically based on the Jordan Love, CJ Stroud timeline, yada, yada.
Right.
And then, this afternoon hits. I was like, to the Steelers? Pissed.
Yeah. That's what happens when you, I guess, I don't know, the Steelers are a respectable organization, so we'll see. We'll see how shit goes.
They are a respectable organization. I don't have true, passion or hate for them outside of a semi-shared color scheme. But outside of that, I don't really have much animosity for them.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's all love. It's good. It's like,
I was like,
all right,
y'all over there.
I got one last question, and then I have our receiver versus for today. So the last question is, so in the trade talks, it was talking about a draft pick and a receiver, and the names that were coming up was Dontavian Wicks and Romeo Doubs. Who are you selling down the river and why?
I am selling Romeo Doubs.
Oh, I didn't expect that. And why?
I think that it would have sweetened whatever deal, right? I think that he would be the more attractive of the options to have sweetened that deal. Of course, you would try to pick it, but I feel like there would be more negotiation in what you try to compensate with Wicks. It might be like Wicks a second and a future fifth or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, so, but no, if truly, like, I think that Wicks would probably pair a little bit better, like within the offense and what they were trying to do. I feel like DK would shadow over Dobbs's opportunities. Plus, he already had, gotten mad before
Right.
in his role. So, if you get another receiver and it's like, oh, you don't think that I can, it's like, oh, okay,
Right,
in
that
those
on top
talks.
of
So,
when it's like no, because we're actually
right.
this nigga's gonna be the number one for sure because we needed that number one guy. So
Mhm.
that's kind of that look like that.
Because Dobbs still does do a lot of like deep target things as well, or downfield progression. So I probably would say Dobbs just based on a couple of those factors. For our offense and like our team, like yeah, he's better than Wicks, but in the sense of getting say someone like DK, if it was that case, then yeah, he'd be the one to be like, hey dog. And plus, I feel like Dobbs would probably maybe demand more money in free agency. Even though they ain't really done too much, I feel like he would still try to get more for us, and we would get nothing out of it. So,
Okay. I could dig that. I didn't think that you were gonna go with Dobbs down the river, but I could see that makes sense. You're
you was selling Wicks?
well, yeah, just because me from my point of view, I'm just trying to keep the most amount of talent. I need the most amount
Right.
of talent in the room, and he's unfortunately the odd man out. If I had to pick who's the better receiver between him and Romeo Dobbs, but like you said, if to sweeten up a deal and let the end the clash, because again, this ain't Madden, so I can't just make the nigga shut up and play the whole year. He's gonna, he might act out, he might do
Roll a little bit, and like yeah, I feel
right.
like
Him this nigga
Wicks
might
is
start
just looking
selling
for
and shit.
right.
So, but yeah, I like Wicks. I hope he's able to take that jump this year. I need everybody actually with the drop seats to take that jump this year. But yeah, that's cool. That's what's up. So let me get to that last question here, and then we can get out of here on these guys. All right. So this is just the A and B. I don't know if you want to get a pencil or if you just have memory where you can remember some shit. But I'm gonna give you receiver A stat, and then I'm gonna give you receiver B stat, and then you're gonna tell me who you want, and then I'll reveal. I'll reveal who's which.
Bet. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So receiver A, we have 205 games played.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. You
Go
know
ahead.
what? You know what? Hold on.
All right, 25
I
games played. He wins.
wait. The thing is that I had I'm about to go back to my original because I had an original selection and then I changed it, but I changed it, but I didn't look over it really good. I looked at the games and the yards and they're kind of similar, but now that I look at the touchdowns, it's like, yo, hold up. All right, let's do this. All right, so receiver. Okay, receiver one is 151 total games played, averaged 85 yards a game, 613 receptions, 8,587 receiving yards. This is career. Um, averaged exactly 14 a catch. Receiving touchdowns 72.
Mm-hmm.
Player 2 is 112 games, averaged 79 yards a game, had 593 receptions, had 8,134 reception yards for career, average 13.7 a catch, 65 touchdowns. Who are you picking receiver A or B and why?
What was the yards for the career on A, receiver one?
8,500.
I mean, just looking at the production over the games, player B did it close in fewer games. He had close production. He was only 20 off in 40 less games, roughly, right? And the averages are right there, 7 less touchdowns. I'd probably go with receiver B.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good
I would just say in the sense of like the average production, even though it says like 79 yards per game, whatnot, he didn't have that many games within it. It's still very close in the sense of total production in 40 less games, overall. Like he needed 20 more receptions and 400 more yards to be where they were in 40 games necessarily, and 7 touchdowns, like to basically match those stats if you extrapolate. So I go with B. Who would you, before you reveal it, who would you choose and why?
Yeah, I was gonna go with B, just because basically what you said, the stats are are really very close. They're almost identical, but the thing that stands out is the games.
Mm-hmm.
The games is like you said, it's 40 games. That's like fucking 4 good seasons with only missing like a 2 or 3 games.
Right, you go on that 16 game, you got to go 2.5 seasons, play the whole year.
Right, so that's like 3. Right, that's about 3 years, 4 good seasons. If you're only missing a couple. So he, like you said, the production he put up and the stuff. So I try to get you kind of somebody comparable, and to kick it off, I did. It was 2 homers. So you care to guess who the receivers were?
2 homers.
Yeah,
let's see, 151 games versus 112 games. That many yards. Let's see, doing the math. They had to have played for us for a while. One is Devontae, one's Jordy. Or wait, with the shortened amount of time, is one Sterling and is one.
Yo, my headphones died, bro. What the fuck? Fuck.
Can you hear me?
Let's see. Damn.
You have so many TDs.
Huh?
You have so many TDs.
What's that? Technical difficulties?
Yes.
We at the end. Damn. Give me 1 second.
While he filibusters, so we can get to the end of this.
Real quick.
I think either one of them Sterling or Sterling and Devontae. No, let's see. 151 games. Let's see. It was 16 games. That's almost 10 seasons worth of games. Who played with us 10 seasons to get that much? Ten seasons versus like 7.
You're on the right track. You're on a good track right now.
Yeah, I was like player. Yeah, I would say it's either Jordy, Sterling, or Devontae based on kind of our numbers. It's just debating on who is which. I'm gonna go with B is B is Sterling, and A is Jordy.
You are correct. You are correct, sir. You are correct. Good for you. Look at you. Because I would have not been able to figure it out. I'm like, they got I fucking know. Turn up. Turn up. Ding, ding, ding.
I was just like, all right. I was like, all right. There's only a few. I was like, there's only a few receivers who will put up that amount of numbers.
That was a good, like, working. You, like, worked that back and whittled that down.
Yeah, I was like, there's only these three. And I was like, all right. And then Sterling had the shortened career, so I was thinking it was either him or Devontae for B, and I was like, all right, Jordy had to have the longevity play, with it, without all that. So I was like putting up like mass numbers. So
Nigga.
I did it.
Yeah, that was an amazing breakdown. Now you're gonna have to guess it all the time.
All right.
At least when we do homers, we'll see if we have to make you have to guess the big one.
Right, if I gotta guess outside, of us, even within us, I'm gonna be like, nigga, Bart Starr did what? You know what I mean? Like, just
yeah, I might get to compare non all-star quarterbacks and shit, but that's what I ended up with. That's what I started off with. That was my original one that I was gonna go to, and then I was like I said, I saw the games. I was like, fuck, he's gonna go receiver B regardless. So then I was like, let me do Donald Driver and Devontae. Because it was a lot closer. And then I looked at like the first couple stats. I was doing it while I was switching it up.
I don't know why I didn't. Donald Driver, I got his jersey in my goddamn closet. Like, I don't know why.
What, you would have picked the Driver?
No. I don't know why I didn't think of him when I was dwindling down the choices. He wasn't even one of those. I was like, I was like, duh, Donald Driver.
Yeah, I was gonna do him v Devontae. Stuff was pretty close, but then it got to touchdowns, and it was like Donald Driver 61 touchdowns, Devontae 103, and I was like, okay.
I was like, yeah, I was like, neither of those numbers too. I was like 72. I was like, that seems low for the Devontae Aaron Rodgers connection. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Aaron Rodgers was out here putting up 40 touchdowns, so.
Well, shit, that concludes us, bro. That was a pretty good episode, man. We got about 12 different viewers during the time coming through. Nobody tapped into the chat, bro. So y'all gotta tap into the chat, my guys. Come on, chat. Tap into the chat. Fuck with me, man. We good people, man. We'll talk back. You talk to me, we'll talk back. That's for sure. But, shit. So you got any other final thoughts for today, my guy?
I'm excited to see where free agency is going to go, lead it up. I mean, you got a long way because you're also going to get like the post June 1 cuts, like, so they can start spreading stuff over the cap. So it's not a bigger balloon of dead cap money. So you got a long way till, certain free agents become available. I don't know what Goody's going to do there. If we're going to get everything, it's not like the NBA free agency where you got to scoop up everybody real quick or else you ain't got nobody. It's, hey, people are being strategic. When are we going to actually release them to save us money or spread that money or whatever it might be for guaranteed contracts? So I want to see who else may potentially be a cap casualty as time goes on for any dead money, and we may be able to scoop out the bargain bin and get somebody like that. But
listen, Goody makes some good deals, bro. He be in there. He be in the bargain bin. Bro.
Final thought. Khalil Mack, Julius Peppers, make it happen.
For real, do that. We are officially on Jaw Watch. We might go live when something happens. We might not. We'll see what's up. But other than that, Packers Nation,
we're gonna go live for a conditional 6th-round pick. Like,
we'll talk about it on our next live. We won't go live. We won't go live unless he says something crazy. Unless he says some wild shit going out the door. But other than that, Packers Nation, that wraps up this episode of the Super Bowl Packers. And thank y'all for kicking it with us and sharing our passion for the green and gold.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and share this podcast with your fellow Packer fans. And let's help grow this community together.
And again, man, don't be a stranger, man. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's episode, whether it's about a hot take that we had, anything that you got to say, or just you're just showing some love for us as a pack. We're reading everything, and we're going to shout you out. So, you know what I'm saying, tap in, be one of our day ones, and, you know what I'm saying, we'll let you know how we're feeling.
You know, make sure to follow us on all the social media accounts. You know, we're available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can search Pack Super Bowls, you know, or Under the Super Bowl Packers. You'll find it on either of the headers, you know, just for any kind of updates, bonus content, clips from the show, you know, or just to leave us a comment and we'll keep the conversation going all week long.
For sure, for sure. You can see our handles here on the screen right now here. But other than that, until next time, keep the faith, keep the energy, and always go Pack Go. See y'all on the next episode of Super Bowl Packers. Stay legendary, my guys.
You know the legend, Lombardi. You know the mission. Bring it home. Peace, baby. We'll talk to you later.